The Toyota Model AC, birthed in 1943, represents one of the most enigmatic and structurally significant chapters in the history of Japanese automotive engineering, serving as a bridge between the fledgling ambitions of the pre-war era and the industrial tenacity that would later define the global powerhouse we recognize today. To understand the Model AC, one must first descend into the atmosphere of the early 1940s, a period where the Toyota Motor Corporation was still in its infancy, having only been formally incorporated as a spin-off of Toyota Automatic Loom Works a few years prior. The Model AC was not a radical departure in aesthetic philosophy but rather a refined evolution of the Model AA, which had been the company's first passenger car. However, the AC arrived at a time when the world was consumed by total war, a factor that dictated its scarcity, its technical composition, and its ultimate fate as a phantom of the automotive world. The design of the AC was heavily influenced by the prevailing, streamlined modern, movement that had gripped the United States and Europe in the 1930s. This was a direct result of Kishiro Toyoda's visits to Detroit, where he observed the manufacturing prowess of Ford and the design boldness of Chrysler. Specifically, the Model AC, like the RR before it, bore a striking resemblance to the Chrysler Airflow, featuring a rounded, aerodynamic silhouette that was meant to decrease wind resistance, a concept that was cutting edge for a Japanese manufacturer at the time. The car's body was characterized by its flowing lines, integrated headlights that sat flush with the front fenders, and a prominent, shield-like grille with vertical slats that gave it an air of bureaucratic authority and understated luxury. Underneath this evocative metalwork sat a chassis that reflected Toyota's pragmatic approach to engineering during a period of extreme resource scarcity. The engine was the Type B, a 3.4-liter overhead valve inline-six. This engine was a masterpiece of reverse engineering, largely based on Chevrolet's stovebolt, six-cylinder designs. In the context of 1943, this engine was chosen for its reliability and its torque-heavy power delivery, producing roughly 75 horsepower. This was sufficient to propel the heavy steel sedan to speeds that were respectable for the unpaved and developing road networks of wartime Japan. The Model AC was distinguished from the RR by several key refinements, most notably the split windscreen design and the inclusion of rear quarter windows that improved visibility and cabin light, giving the interior a more spacious, executive feel. Because the AC was produced during the height of World War II, its production numbers were staggeringly low. Historical records suggest that only about 115 units were ever assembled, though some scholars argue the number might be slightly higher or lower depending on whether one counts prototypes and command vehicles. This rarity was due to the fact that the Japanese military government had pivoted almost all industrial capacity toward the production of trucks, aircraft components, and munitions. Passenger cars were seen as a luxury the nation could ill afford, and as a result, the Model AC was primarily reserved for high-ranking military officials and government dignitaries. This gave the car a specific social gravity. To see a Model AC on the streets of Nagoya or Tokyo in 1943 was to see the face of the state. The interior of the AC was a testament to the hidden luxury of the era. Despite the rationing of materials, Toyota utilized high-quality wool fabrics for the seating and wood grain finishes for the dashboard to maintain a sense of prestige. The layout was functional yet elegant, featuring large, legible gauges and a three-spoke steering wheel that felt substantial in the driver's hands. However, the production process itself was fraught with difficulty. Materials like chrome and high-grade steel were being diverted to the front lines, forcing engineers to find creative solutions in finishing and trim. This resulted in a car that was technically a luxury vehicle but carried the weight and somber tone of its era. The mechanical DNA of the AC also revealed a forward-thinking approach to safety and comfort for its time, employing a synchronized transmission and a hydraulic braking system that was far more advanced than the mechanical brakes found on many contemporary vehicles. When we look at the legacy of the 1943 Model AC, we are looking at the literal survival of a vision. After the war, the blueprints and the manufacturing lessons learned from the AC provided the foundation for the SA and subsequent models that would eventually lead to the legendary Crown and Corolla lineages. The AC proved that Toyota could produce a vehicle with international design standards even under the most oppressive economic conditions. Today, the car is an extreme rarity. For decades, it was believed that no original model ACs survived the devastation of the post-war period. It wasn't until a single, battered survivor was discovered in Russia and painstakingly restored by the Toyota Automobile Museum that the world was able to see the physical manifestation of this 1943 legend once again. This discovery underscored the AC's status as a missing link in the evolution of the automobile. It stands as a symbol of Kishiro Toyoda's unwavering belief that the future of Japan lay in the mass production of passenger cars, regardless of the immediate geopolitical storms. The Model AC was more than just a car, it was a statement of intent, a refined machine built in a time of chaos, and a precursor to the quality-obsessed culture that would one day make Toyota a household name across every continent. Its 1943 vintage marks it as a witness to history, a silent observer of a turning point in the 20th century, and a masterclass in how a company maintains its soul through its design even when the world around it is falling apart. To study the AC is to study the intersection of Art Deco beauty and wartime pragmatism, a combination that makes it one of the most fascinating objects in the history of industrial design.